Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1921. Why does Ivy want her to attend the kickoff ceremony? Does she want to see her? Does she have something to say? Gale sat on the balcony of the master bedroom, gazing into the distance, lost in thought. Suddenly she sensed someone's presence. Shawn walked over to her, pulled out a chair and sat down. "What are you staring at?" Gale pushed the invitation toward him. "Take a look." He glanced at it. "I don't really want to go, but Ivy wants me to." "I'm considering it," Gale said. Shawn replied lightly. "Go then." She was somewhat surprised. Was he really so readily agreeing to let her go? After all, Shawn had been keeping a close eye on her. In the evenings, they stayed home, accompanying the children, and helping with homework. During the day when they were together at the company, he constantly messaged her. If she did not reply to him for more than 5 minutes, he would send someone to find her. Sometimes it was Peach rushing over in a hurry. "Gale, please reply to Mr. Wood's message quickly. He's asking me what you're doing." Sometimes it was Summer knocking on her desk. "Your husband is looking for you." It made Gale feel embarrassed. "Are you sure? You are okay if I go?" "It's fine to go have some fun, consider it a break." Shawn looked at her. "Besides, isn't the male lead partnered with Ivy someone you like too? You can see him in person and take a photo together." Gale was stunned. This was so rare. She glanced at the sky to make sure it was not raining cats. Then she stared at Shawn again. He was her husband, no doubt. She did not expect him to be so relaxed. He would get jealous if she exchanged a few words with other men, and now he was pushing her to go see a male star that she fancied. Shawn leaned back in his chair, legs crossed. "You've been feeling down lately, not interested in anything. Meeting someone you like might improve your mood." Gale could not help but ask, "If I go see him, won't you be jealous?" "Not at all. You like him, but you won't marry him. You're married to me," Shawn replied. Her liking for the male star was just a passing crush. To put it bluntly, it was superficial and would lose its novelty after a while. He knew how girls liked male stars. Gale could not help but sigh. This man was becoming more open-minded. "Then I'll go. Don't get mad when the time comes," Gale said casually. He smirked. "I won't. Absolutely won't." "Okay, I'll reply to Evie." As they chatted, Joshua and Nicole also ran over. The atmosphere suddenly became lively. "Mommy and Daddy, don't just sit there. Come join us, let's play ball." Nicole linked arms with Gale. "The 4 of us can play badminton, mixed doubles." She smiled and replied, "Sure." Joshua, sharp-eyed, noticed the invitation on the table. "What's this? An invitation to a movie launch?" "A movie?" Joshua's eyes lit up. "That means you'll get to see a lot of stars. They're all handsome men and beautiful women." Gale nodded. "Yes, wow mommy, then you have to dress up nicely. Don't wear these casual clothes." Joshua pointed disdainfully at her loungewear. "Put on some makeup, lipstick, and wear a beautiful dress. If you do that, you'll stand out just like a female star." Chapter 1922. Was he praising her or poking fun at her? Gale was not sure whether to be happy or sad. "Why do I need to dress up so nicely? I'm already married. What if some single guys start to fancy me? How do I reject them?" Gale asked. Joshua glanced at Shawn. With him around, there were many things he could not say. "Well, if some guys like you, it means your charm hasn't faded, and it also proves that Shawn has great taste. He married you while you were still highly sought after. Isn't that right?" Joshua replied. Shawn reached out and grabbed the collar of his shirt, pulling him close. "Stop pretending. What's on your mind?" Joshua blinked his innocent big eyes. "I'm just saying what's on my mind." Shawn raised an eyebrow. "I'll give you one more chance." "Are you sure you don't want to confess to your thoughts?" Faced with the threat, Joshua quickly weighed his options in his mind and chose to come clean. There was no other choice. Shawn was too powerful, and he was still young, unable to compete. "I think male celebrities are so handsome. If they're also good at talking and making people happy, then mommy hit the jackpot. Having a handsome, caring and attentive guy by her side will lift her spirits. She'll be happy every day. Smiling all the time, right?" Joshua said. Gale would certainly be happy around handsome guys from the entertainment industry, be it fresh-faced pretty boys, mature gentlemen, or the bad boys. Shawn could not find it in him to smile. "Shawn, you need to broaden your horizons. Mommy is just having fun. She won't really be with them. It's just for a bit of enjoyment. Ultimately, she'll come back to your embrace," Joshua said solemnly. Gale laughed heartily. Shawn's lips twitched. "Thank you, Joshua, for your excellent planning skills." "Just doing my part." Joshua waved his hand, then suddenly remembered something. Oh, by the way, mommy can be friends with male celebrities, but you can't be friends with female celebrities. Why not? Because none of them compare to mommy. You already have the best, most beautiful and gentlest woman in the world. Aren't you satisfied? Shawn had the sudden impulse to throw him off the balcony. Joshua was very flexible. He squatted down and slipped out of his coat, then swiftly ran to Gale's side. After this move, Shawn was left holding just Joshua's coat. It was a brilliant escape. Uncle Puritan taught me that. He said when a bad person grabs me like that, I should use my physical advantage to escape as quickly as possible. Today was my first time practicing, and it really works. Joshua said triumphantly. Shawn threw the coat aside and snorted coldly. Gale was truly beaming, pinching Joshua's cheek. You're such a good big boy. Of course. Joshua tilted his chin up. Even though my name is now Joshua Wood and not Joshua Warm, you will always be the most important person in my heart. Gale's smile widened, while Shawn's expression darkened even further. Hey, what's with that expression? Gale looked at him with a smile. You were the one who just said you support me attending the launch ceremony, meeting my favorite male celebrity. How long has it been since you said that? Now you're backing out? Shawn's thin lips parted slightly. I'll go with you tomorrow. What? Gale, do I need to repeat myself? Gale was curious. But you have a meeting tomorrow. Chapter 1923. It can be postponed. After some thought, Shawn decided to accompany her. Bodyguards could not guarantee her safety. Joshua was right, with so many male stars on set of all types surrounding Gale. No, could not imagine it. Moreover, she was going as Wood Group's first lady. What if someone decided to court her? That settles it. Let's just consider it as supporting Ivy, Shawn said. Ivy was the only female star under Wood Group, and also the spokesperson for Levito. That was her first film after she switched companies. Having both Mr. Wood and Mrs. Wood attending the opening ceremony would be the ultimate sign of support. No one in the entertainment industry dared to look down on her. Even if Paul had any evil thoughts, he had to think twice and could not act rashly. Okay, if you want to go, we'll go together. Gale nodded. There are also many female stars on set, maybe there are some you like. Shawn's voice perked up. Haha, let's go play badminton, get some exercise. Gale stood up. Stop sitting around all the time. Shawn got up, picking up the racket next to her. Actually, he knew that there was surely a reason for inviting Gale to the opening ceremony. These past few days, Ivy had mentioned to him that Orem had become increasingly attentive and considerate toward her. She felt that he would confess to her soon. Ivy also indicated that Orem was not shy. He disregarded others' opinions, showing care and attention to her regardless of time or place. People around them assumed Orem was pursuing her. From Shawn's understanding of Orem, he estimated that Orem wanted to use this opening ceremony to officially make Ivy his girlfriend and solidify their relationship. Of course, Orem could not silently confirm their relationship behind the scenes. He had to make it known to others. The first person he had to let know was Gale. They say the one who knows you best is your opponent. Shawn saw through Orem's plan very clearly. Gale finished showering. She picked out her outfit, with her hair still damp. Which one should I wear tomorrow? Shawn, what suit are you wearing? She murmured. You choose. You want me to choose? I don't even know what to wear, now I have to worry about you. Shawn leaned against the headboard, flipping through his book casually. Didn't you ask me what suit I was wearing? You pick the color of your dress and I'll match mine to yours. Gale became even more conflicted. She could not dress up too much as it was just a launch ceremony. However, looking too casual would seem as if she did not care. After much deliberation, Gale finally chose a white long-sleeved lace dress for herself and a white shirt with a black suit for Shawn. It was simple, but still formal. That settled it. Shawn asked, Have you decided? Need me to give some advice? It's okay. Chapter 1924. Gale skipped onto the bed and lay on his chest, yawning. Let's sleep early, we have to wake up early tomorrow. You're already thinking about sleeping? Gale shuddered at the thought of what Shawn wanted. There's something important tomorrow. Don't be funny, she said. It's okay, we'll do whatever needs to be done now, it won't affect anything. I'll be too tired, I'll end up oversleeping. Shawn hugged her waist and pulled her close. Then let them delay the ceremony. Hey. Before Gale could finish her sentence, Shawn's lips descended upon hers. He had been relentless every night. Gale could not resist. She could not. She worked all day, so she knew that at night, she had to fulfill her duties as a wife. She also understood that Shawn wanted to show her that he did not care about that night. Therefore, Shawn was even more energetic than usual. As a result, Gale could not get out of bed the next day. The alarm had rung 3 times already. Shawn! Gale lay in bed grumbling. You did this on purpose. He stood in front of the dressing mirror, leisurely tying his tie. How did I do it on purpose? Isn't it the same as usual? You're clearly more what? Gale could not articulate it. It's still early. Lie down for a while longer, you can have breakfast in the car to save time, Shawn said. You've clearly planned this. No matter how sore her body felt, Gale still managed to crawl out of bed. The ceremony was at the film district on the outskirts of Sea City. The movie was a big production, and the leading actors were A-list stars. It attracted considerable attention, with many media reporters on site. The center of the first row was reserved for Shawn and Gale. Their car stopped at the entrance. As soon as the journalists saw the luxury car, they swarmed over. The car door opened, and they stepped out. Mr. Wood and Mrs. Wood has arrived. Someone shouted, attracting the attention of the entire venue. The camera flashes went off. Although Shawn and Gale were not celebrities, their fame and attention were no less than those of movie stars. Netizens these days are more interested in the private lives of wealthy families than those of celebrities. Shawn, especially, who was known for his quirks. He was the eldest son of a wealthy family, the president of a billion-dollar conglomerate, rich, handsome, tall, and stylish. He outshone numerous male stars. Now he is married with children, a son and a daughter, leading a happy life. Most importantly, he had no scandals, not even rumors. He was the epitome of Prince Charming, wealthy, faithful, and loyal. Gale was the envy of women everywhere. Chapter 1925. Every time she appeared in public, she stood by Shawn's side, and she did not need to do anything except smile. Women everywhere took it as a sign of her being treasured and pampered. Reporters surrounded Shawn and Gale, firing questions incessantly. Mr. Wood, why did you choose Ivy as the first female celebrity under your company? She is representing Levito. Do you think she is qualified? Mrs. Wood, when do you plan to have your 3rd child? Why are you and your wife attending this ceremony? What is the significance of it? Will you be venturing into the entertainment industry next? A barrage of questions was thrown at them. Gale maintained a graceful smile, waving at the cameras. Most of the time she just stayed by Shawn's side, keeping her head down. He would handle it. Thank you all for your concern. Shawn paused for a moment, then said, we are considering having a 3rd child. He only answered that question and ignored the rest. Shawn held her hand all the while as they walked into the venue under the escort of bodyguards. The reporters were left outside. Ivy stood watch nearby. They make such a perfect couple, she sighed. Gale is really lucky. An assistant said, Ivy, you're lucky too. How many female celebrities in the entertainment industry envy you right now? She just smiled. She may have looked splendid on the surface, but inside, she was in a complete mess. Orem respects your intentions. Everyone can see that. He's also a well-known man in Sea City. You should grasp the opportunity, the assistant said softly. How can I grasp it? The person who belongs to you will cross mountains and rivers to be by your side. The one who doesn't belong to you will leave by daybreak after a night with you, Ivy replied, partly to the assistant and partly to herself. Ivy, why do you have such melancholic thoughts when you're at the peak of your career and have found love? It's not melancholy. It's reality. Reality was always so cruel. Orem was never the person she should be with. He was the one who destroyed her. He was her mortal enemy. She withdrew her gaze and straightened her clothes. Am I presentable? Can I appear in front of the press? The assistant carefully checked her. You're good. This is a modern drama, not as complicated as historical dramas. Ivy, you could go out for a stroll in this outfit. Brilliant Lives depicted the lives and emotions of urban men and women, and the outfits on set were very fashionable. Ivy played a beautiful woman, befitting of her true self. The costumes in the drama were similar to what she usually wore. The only difference was that she preferred loose, casual styles in daily life, while the character in the drama was a delicate and poised woman. Paul walked over with a walkie-talkie in hand. As the director, everyone in the crew respected and obeyed his orders. He walked with his hands behind his back, glancing around, occasionally glancing at Ivy. He always gazed at her uncomfortably. She pretended not to see. Fortunately, at that moment, Orem arrived. As soon as Orem appeared, Paul immediately became meek. Mr. Lefting, why are you here? I arranged a seat for you in the front row. I'm just looking around. Orem said he was just looking around, but he had been paying attention to Ivy the whole time. Paul was tactful and quickly walked away, not daring to disturb him. The assistant also found an excuse and slipped away. Chapter 1926. Orem walked up to her. This outfit looks great. Are you ready? Ivy smiled innocently. I'm not a newcomer. I've been through many opening ceremonies. What's there to prepare? I just want to finish quickly and start filming. Orem also smiled. Yes, but it's my first time filming. I'm not very familiar and I thought you were the same. My mistake. Mr. Lefting, you're the investor after all. I don't like that. Ivy, just call me by my name, Orem said. Ivy nodded. Okay, Mr. Orem has the final say. You have the final say, is that okay? Ivy corrected. Only then did Orem nod. Okay. Gale has arrived. Let's go. You should go and say hello to her. Okay. Ivy adjusted the strands of hair near her ear and walked out. Watching her leave, Orem's smile deepened. It seemed that Ivy had taken the bait, falling for his kindness toward her. Logically, he should push forward with their relationship. He could not keep being ambiguous, could he? It was almost time to confirm their relationship. Today was the most opportune. Not only did Gale attend the opening ceremony but even Shawn was here. This was exactly what he wanted. The opening ceremony started promptly at 8 minutes past 10 in the morning. Investors stood below. Investors of the film sat below. Cameras clicked away, and reporters began broadcasting live. Everything proceeded as usual. Gale leaned close to Shawn and whispered, Evie looks really beautiful. She looks stunning from every angle, ridiculously beautiful. He raised an eyebrow. Aren't you here to see the male lead? I think he looks better on camera. His presence can't overshadow Ivy at all. I'm completely drawn to Ivy's charm. Shawn was very satisfied with her perspective. So, I, who sit beside you, am the most pleasant to look at, he said. At first, Gale was stunned, blinked, then burst into laughter. Exactly. My husband looks handsome on camera, even more handsome in person. He is handsome from every angle. On camera? When did I appear on camera? You appeared on the news. You've had interviews about finance before, and there are some video clips with you in it. Shawn's smile grew deeper. You watched them all? Yes. During those years when I couldn't see you in person, I would look for you there. That's how I could know how you were doing. Shawn reached up and ruffled her hair. Gale let him. The two of them made these intimate gestures as if no one else was around. This was how they usually interacted as a couple, so they did not think there was anything wrong. However, others interpreted the scene differently. Some journalists focused partly on the opening ceremony, and partly on the loving relationship between Mr. Wood and Mrs. Wood. This trip was well worth it. They got juicy material to publish later. Female stars, on the other hand, were jealous of Ivy and admired Gale. Chapter 1927. Ivy had a successful career. They felt that if they worked hard, they could get where she was. However, to marry into the richest family in Sea City was a matter of luck and fate. Moreover, to marry and have a doting husband was even rarer. Not only did it require fate, but it also required exceptionally good fortune. Actresses threw glances at Shawn from time to time. They felt he was a remarkable man and yearned to be noticed. Orem sat beside them, looking immersed in the happenings. However, in reality, he kept an eye on every move Shawn and Gale made. He did this stoically. The ceremony proceeded in an orderly manner. Paul led the crew members out and ended it by handing out gifts to everyone. These are a little token from Mr. Lefting to everyone. We can only pray for a smooth sailing filming. Everyone gets one. Gifting others gifts was seen as a gesture of goodwill, so leading actors would receive the same gift as an extra on the set. Paul handed over the gift. Ivy, you look really stunning. You're both beautiful and stylish, very fitting for the role. Thank you, Director Paul. Ivy took it coolly, not even glancing at him. She had already done a lot to maintain her composure on the surface. Paul did not mind her attitude, thinking to himself, what is with the attitude? Wait until one day. Sooner or later, Ivy would once again submit to him. The more unattainable she was, the more desirable he found her. Paul's gaze swept over Ivy, suddenly understanding why Orem was so fixated on Mrs. Wood, Shawn's wife, and went to such lengths to win her over. Other women were just willingly offering themselves, with no meaning or challenge. Ivy turned away, her back facing Paul. His lecherous gaze made her feel disgusted. She took a step forward. There were many people on the stage, bustling back and forth. There were many machines around, and the ground was covered with wires. Suddenly, someone stumbled. Oops! The black wire was pulled tight, stretched straight. Ivy was about to look up when she heard many cries of alarm simultaneously. Be careful! Ivy, watch out! Quick, get out of the way! What? Be careful of what? Get out of the way? Ivy did not react at all, completely unaware of what was happening. When she came to her senses, a huge camera was already falling her way. The people around her screamed and tried to dodge. Some wanted to save her, to pull her away, but the camera fell too quickly, and it was too late to react. Ivy looked up, watching the camera get closer and closer to her. This was bad. If there was an accident right before she started filming, how could she continue? At this moment, Ivy prayed that the camera would not disfigure her face. She was able to cover up injuries on her body with clothes, but if her face got injured, she would not be able to appear on screen. She was about to raise her hand to cover her face when a strong force suddenly pulled her away, causing her to stumble to the side. Then, a warm and sturdy figure pressed against her, enveloping her securely in his arms. Chapter 1928. He held onto her tightly, and both of them fell to the ground together. Then there was a loud slam. After that, Ivy heard the muffled groan of pain from the man beside her. The entire machine had crashed onto the man protecting her, but Ivy remained unharmed. She was stunned. However, she did not have much time to react, because people around her had already rushed over. Mr. Lefting. Quick, move the cameras away. Someone call for help. What are you all standing there for? If anything happens to Mr. Lefting. The voices of concern bombarded her ears. However, she only heard the man's breathing. He must be in a lot of pain. The heavy and tall machine had crashed into him. He saved her. Why did he save her? Was it out of instinct? Did he genuinely care for her? Or was he just continuing to act? Acting until he became too immersed in the role, and only thought about protecting and taking care of her? At this moment, Ivy's heart was in turmoil. She kept telling herself that Orem was the mastermind behind the scenes, the one who planned her attack, her enemy. She hated him. She needed to get evidence of his crimes, seek revenge, and expose his true side to the world. She could not have any feelings for Orem. All his kindness to her was fake. Even though Ivy knew everything, her heart was still uncontrollably moved. Women were always creatures of emotion. Even though they clearly knew everything, they would still fall for ruses like that. She got a grip on herself. There could never be a future between her and Orem. Even if she fell in love with him. People around them rushed over, moving the camera and helping Orem up. Paul was the most surprised and concerned. Mr. Lefting, are you okay? Should we call an ambulance? Are you injured? With the help of several people, Orem slowly stood up. His expression clearly showed pain, his thin lips tightly pursed. It must have hurt. No need for an ambulance, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. Orem responded, then immediately looked at Ivy. How about you? Before Ivy could answer, he grabbed her wrist and pulled her in front of him, examining her closely from head to toe. I'm fine. Ivy shook her head. I'm not hurt at all. Orem breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. Otherwise I would have been hit in vain. Ivy murmured. You protected me tightly, leaving no gap for harm to reach me. She stood there unscathed. Orem's back must be bruised. Although he did not suffer serious injuries, it would probably take a couple of months to recover. It happened so quickly that no one was prepared. Even the people around Ivy did not have time to save her. However, Orem, who had been sitting in the audience, rushed up and protected her in time. Before, everyone was well aware of the affection between Orem and Ivy, but doubted if they would end up together. Perhaps Orem was just momentarily interested, or maybe he was just playing around. After all, they were still not a couple. Maybe one day Orem would ignore Ivy and go after other women. Chapter 1929. After this incident, everyone could see for themselves how Orem favored Ivy. Orem would risk his own safety to save her. This was not just ordinary affection. Shawn and Gale exchanged glances. They were witnesses to the whole incident. When the machine fell, Gale stood up in shock, but because she was too far away, she could not get to Ivy in time, and could only stand there feeling anxious. Moreover, Shawn also held her back, not allowing her to approach. It was too dangerous. People around Ivy were only concerned with protecting themselves, afraid of being hit by the machine, and focused on dodging it. It was Orem who quickly got up, took a big step onto the stage, and rushed toward Ivy, blocking in front of her just a second before the machine fell, protecting her. Does Orem really like her? Gale muttered to herself. When one's beloved is in danger, they would not hesitate to save their loved one. Gale understood because Shawn had saved her from danger too. He would rather be injured himself than let her suffer even a little bit. Shawn looked calmly at the stage, saying nothing. What was Orem up to? It was clearly a ploy. In full view of the public, Orem staged a heroic scene. Everyone could see it clearly. This way Orem could naturally push forward their relationship and be with Ivy. As long as Ivy accepted his confession, their relationship as a couple would be confirmed and accepted by all. Shawn smirked. He already knew that Orum's invitation for Gale to attend the opening ceremony was not just for fun. Shawn had slowly figured out Orum's tricks and strategies. When the incident happened, the journalists were stunned for a moment, and it took several seconds for them to regain their senses and hurriedly take pictures. This was gossip. A hero saving a beauty. This was romance. More importantly, was Ivy being romanced? This story would surely attract more attention than the ceremony itself. The live broadcast had also caught the scene on camera. Viewership surged and comments flooded in. Who is this man? He is so quick and handsome. Even wearing a suit doesn't hinder him from saving people. This actually happened in real life. Are you sure it's not a scene from a movie? He was so far away, yet he managed to save her in time. What were the people around her doing? Were they just acting as background props? Could this be Ivy's boyfriend here to attend her new movie opening? She's in a relationship now? Accidentally exposed? After a moment of chaos, the staff helped Orum up to the crew's rest area. Ivy followed. However, before leaving, she glanced back at Shawn and Gale. Let's go and take a look. Hopefully, Orum isn't injured, Shawn said. A ploy like this was not something ordinary people could pull off. If one was not careful, one could end up getting hurt themselves. He had not expected Orum to be able to do this to himself. What if the camera had been slightly off and did not hit his back but hit the back of his head? His life could have been in danger. Chapter 1930. Gale nodded. Okay, she was extremely worried about Ivy, and even more concerned about Orum's injuries. Shawn had already put his arm around her shoulder and was walking backstage. He understood Ivy's expressions and felt they needed to go to her. He had a feeling that Gale, and he would need to witness what would happen next. Otherwise, how could they play along with this charade if Orum did not have the chance to take the stage? The chaos subsided, and the fallen camera was carried away. Sorry. There was a little accident, but it's okay, no one got hurt, it's not serious. Let's continue. There will be an interview session later. Our main actors will all be interviewed. Reporters are welcome to ask questions, Paul said. Paul was feeling quite annoyed. Just as they started filming, something like this happened. It did not feel like a good sign. It even fell on Orum. He was the main investor. He could not accept anything happening to his investor. In the dressing room, Orum was sitting in a chair, motionless, and sweat appeared on his forehead. Mr. Lefting, please wait. The doctor will be here soon. I'll go chase them, a staff member said. Okay, go ahead. Everyone else tactfully left the dressing room to Orum and Ivy. They knew they should not be a third wheel. Ivy stood in front of Orum, not knowing what to say for a moment. She felt a myriad of complicated emotions. This complexity did not need acting. It was directly reflected in her expression. In fact, Orum also hoped to see her looking this way. Ivy could not help but think that it was really exhausting. At this point, she still had to think about how to appease Orum, unable to express her true inner feelings. When could she be a little more sincere, a little more straightforward? Could she meet a man who is sincere and straightforward? Had she used up all her luck in her career, causing her love life to be so rocky? It hurts a lot, right? After a long while, Ivy asked softly. Orum smiled at her. Don't worry, I'm fine now, right? If something were wrong, I would have been taken away in an ambulance to the hospital already. She did not say anything. Orum smiled again. Really? It's fine. I can still talk to you, I'm conscious, and I can still move. I work out, so I'm tough. Getting hit is nothing. You're petite and thin. If that camera had hit you, it would have been a big deal. Ivy glanced at him, then looked away. You saved me, because you were afraid of delaying the progress of the movie, right? I'm the female lead. If I get injured, there won't be any way to film, and the whole crew will have to wait for me to recover, which will delay progress, she asked intentionally. But at the same time, she hoped to hear the real answer from Orum. Ivy was very objective. Unfortunately, she felt stirrings in her heart. She even understood that this unexpected accident was most likely orchestrated by Orum himself. He was deliberately creating trouble, then coming to the rescue as a hero. Ivy knew everything. However, it did not keep her from feeling all sorts of feelings. I saved you for many reasons. The situation you mentioned is one of them. But it's not the main reason at all, Orum replied. Why? I couldn't just stand by and watch you get hurt. I couldn't just stand there dumbfounded and do nothing. I saved you because I don't want you to get hurt, because I feel anxious for you. You feel anxious for me? Yes.